Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose here at the SAP Center in downtown San Jose, as it would be. We are on to our final set of the day here. It's going to be Unicorns of Love versus Team Solo Mid, as Unicorns of Love were able to take out Lions Gaming earlier. They were able to do that in a fashion of 2-0, and we've actually had 2-0s all throughout the day. We just saw a nice convincing win by Cloud9, and as we are onto our third best of three, it is going to be the matchup that pretty much everybody wanted to see here for the first day. It is going to be, as I said, Unicorns of Love versus Team Solo Mid, and a lot of names come up here that it's Kikis versus Santorin, it's Bjergsen in that mid lane versus Power of Evil, and I think that's a lot of what we're going to be watching on the analyst desk.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that coming into this tournament, just based on what some of the professional players who have been in these scrims have been saying, like TSM is the big favorite, I think, for this tournament. They have apparently adapted very well to this new patch. Santorin apparently has been doing great things.
So we've heard.
On this new patch, too, the mid lane is probably the most important position at the moment, and Bjergsen is very good, and he is very dominant in that mid lane.
I'm going to chime in on that. I think that the game is going to be 100% decided by the synergy between Bjergsen and Santorin going against Power of Evil and Kikis. And I just feel like TSM's duo just outclasses that. I mean, nothing against the Power of Evil and Kikis. Like, they're good players, but just from playing against them and seeing it in solo queue, and it's a pretty brutal duo. Like they will do some like cheesy, like crazy. They'll like dive you like level 1. Like, yeah, I didn't even get my buff. I just started W on Pantheon. Like, I'm here. Like, I'm on you. Like, what?
Even though I would say that Santorin is a better jungler than Kikis, I wouldn't say it's such a huge gap. I just think the synergy of the two players is what's really going to make a difference, as Shane said.
As we were talking earlier, probably no mental block for Santorin there. Big stage, first game with the team. A lot of things online. We've heard good words of his work, what he's been doing. Have you ever had a chance to match up against him in any of the games? Have you guys been scrimming, Saint?
Yeah, we scrimmed against them. I'm not really going to give anything away, but tell us all. Give us the juicy bits. But I think, yeah, they're a very, they've always been a mid-centric team, and they always like, oh, well, we'll just get Bjergsen ahead. Like, we'll power through that. And they like to do, like, a lot of roam plays, and they're just a very, like, unit-oriented kind of team. And it just all flows out of the mid lane. And I think that's exactly how this game's going to look.
And the pick compositions must fit them perfectly as well, with Bjergsen, what he plays, with what everybody else is coming out of the jungle with. I mean, we used to see them run the Syndra in mid with Elise and then Thresh, and you just get cocooned, hooked, whatever, and they create all this pick game. That's kind of falling out, but they'll still have the poke. Hopefully they can still revert to that.
Well, we've seen those Zed bans all day, too, and that's always a champion that Bjergsen has been particularly deadly on, and the question is, like, is that Azir going to be coming into this game? We started the day talking about this. We haven't seen it picked. We haven't seen it banned. When is it going to come out? Are these games it? Are either of these teams holding back this very potentially powerful pick? Because Azir's utility gives him so many options in terms of team play. I was quite impressed when his kit was released, and this is the champion that I've been really dying to see since he was released, played in the professional scene.
Bjergsen has played a little bit up in solo queue as well, so it wouldn't be surprised if we did see it. It would just be really, really interesting. I'm actually wondering how Vizicachi is going to do top lane against Dyrus as well. He played really well in the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he's going to do as well against Dyrus, but I'm interested to see if he can still have that kind of carrying from the top lane mentality he had in the previous 2 games.
He's not afraid to bring that Aurelia into the Gnar and then either take it for himself as well. He played both of those, so we could see him bringing something just easy, simple against Dyrus. We know Dyrus only had to go hard in his lane a few times, as we saw them playing against LMQ in the qualifiers for Worlds. So other than that, I think that matchup in the top lane, as you said, it's going to be pretty good to watch, and we'll have to see if Vizicachi can really step up for the team, because Power of Evil is, and Vizicachi was number 2 coming up after that for really who's carrying Unicorns of Love throughout the games. Now, Team Solo Mid usually was a Dragon-focused team way back like Season 2, 3. I think they were the team to say, we don't need it, and then 2014 came around, and they were a team to kind of control everything. How do we feel they'll play this? Because their bottom lane, not super aggressive, but what are they going to be doing?
Well, it's just, for me, it's that bottom half of the map. We know Lustboy is so good at getting into the enemy jungle from the bottom side, getting those deep wards in. If you have the mid control right now, and we do see, I mean, this is a big test for Santorin. I don't know if he's going to get jitters or not on this stage, but if they live up to the hype that we've been kind of hearing about, then I would think that they would have some pretty darn strong control over the bottom side of the map, and that should lead to some pretty easy dragons.
Well, something we'll definitely keep an eye on. Right now, we are ready for the player intros, so we're going ahead and throw it down to Shox.
Thank you very much, Rivington. Now, the team that's going to take the stage first hasn't took the stage here yet today. They're coming in here with a brand new jungler. Give it up for Team Solo Mid. And on the other side, they already took down Lion Gaming 2-0 earlier in the day. They're very confident coming into this matchup. Give it up for the Unicorns of Love.
All right, so we see Unicorns of Love readying up once again to face off here at the SAP Center in San Jose Intel Extreme Masters. Team Solo Mid's going to take to the Rift for the first time today. And we said Unicorns of Love may actually grab a bit of an edge because they have had a bit of a warm-up, and Team Solo Mid maybe just been kind of warming up their hands and getting ready to play.
That might be a factor for someone like Santorin, who when it is coming into one of his first big games. He might have a little bit of jitters. I expect the rest of TSM, though, they've been playing now for a long time. I do not expect any of them to have those jitters. And the warm-up that Unicorns of Love that have, I don't think is going to matter against the rest of them. The only one it will matter with is Santorin. Can he really step up to the plate? And the synergy that we're talking about him and Bjergsen having, are they going to have it or not in that first game?
Yeah.
Right
Absolutely. And, the other person I want to look at, too, is Wild Turtle. He did falter a bit in the laning phase in Worlds.
Yep.
But at the same time, Unicorns of Love didn't prove themselves particularly lane dominant. I think that question's going to have to wait, really, until we get to a potential matchup against Alliance.
Yep.
In saying, I'm going to kind of ask a backward question. If Santorin, can't get to a lane with the new 420 patch, which lane is going to be hurting the most?
I think most of TSM's lanes are pretty self-reliant because I think they always default back to, like, especially Dyrus, they'll default back to just farming it out, keeping it even, and then they rely on their pretty good late game decision making. And if you saw in the games of Unicorns of Love, such a hard name to say, they played earlier today, they had some really kind of questionable mid to late game decision making. They looked like they didn't know how to close it out when they had an advantage. And I think if you do that against a team like TSM,
You're going to get punished.
yeah, they're gonna hurt.
We'll have to see where the objective control goes there. We know that TSM likes to kind of have in the back pocket of the mid laner, as most junglers do. It's an easy place to get the guy going who's going to carry the game. We'll see if Santorin follows through with that, as TSM has always kind of been that someone for the mid laner, usually the jungler there to help, and Lust Boys roam as well. If he can get we haven't seen Janna too much, but Janna to get in for those roams, to get in for some other things, is really what we were seeing at Worlds.
Yeah, that's one of the big surprises for me today, is that we haven't seen a very high priority placed on Janna when compared to all of those Korean games that we've seen on 420 so far, where she has been very high up in the draft, sometimes first pick, often banned as well, or at least taken in the first round of the draft on the red side. And she's fallen down pretty darn far so far. But at the same time, we are seeing the bans against Zed, the bans against Jace that we see in Korea. Just that one pick doesn't seem to be so prioritized by these teams. And I think it should be. I think she gives such amazing lane dominance. I think she gives great peel for these poke champions. Yep. Why isn't she being played more?
You got me. You guys are the analysts. We'll have to see. Maybe she will get picked up this game. As we said, Lustboy really provided the vision game for Team Solo Mid, and with Janna's passive speed, she's able to get through, do that safely. We saw it a lot on Gorilla. We saw it a lot on Mata. It just worked well at Worlds and could work well here. We know that the game is objective focused, and we saw Janna causing some troubles in the last game with that, but still, if the team, as we saw, gets into the choke points, makes what they have to have happen. Rumble ultis, if we see Rumble coming in again, those top picks for top lane. Lissandra could possibly come in on this. I'd like to see Dyrus on a Lissandra, on something like that, and really open up his champion pool, because I think Unicorns of Love hasn't shown us everything they have yet either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dyrus picking Lissandra, maybe even them flexing it. I've seen he's been playing it a lot in solo queues, so I think pretty much any top laner that's playing in the game at all right now is like, yo, man, that Lissandra she looks pretty...
Even Wicked as well is like, oh, I better play Lissandra because...
Yeah. And
he was never a double AP fan at all.
So looking at that pick, why doesn't it become a ban, though, if somebody can hit it? Just too many priorities?
I think it should be a ban in a lot of these cases, but I think that because it's so new, we don't exactly know how skilled some of these players on this Lissandra. And while Balls did very well in the early phases of the game, I feel like he really misused his ult in a lot of those team fights later on.
He was out of position a little bit.
Yeah, and out of position as well. So it's a tricky champion to play because she is so fragile. She is incredibly ult and Zhonya's dependent, and you can either do it spectacularly or you can kind of fall on your face with it, and there's a very low margin of error.
And we are going to be getting into the picks and bans. It should be called bans and picks, actually, because those come first. The Aurelia will be taken away from Vizicachi, as we talked about that a little bit before.
Target bans against Bjergsen.
Yeah.
Surprise there.
Good call. Not going to have his Zed left up. Actually, Worlds heard him that. He went for Zed immediately to play in those matches, and it wasn't really something that worked for him.
You can actually see they have a Corki ban here, so you can tell they have something in mind that they want to first pick, because they don't want to risk Unicorns of Love second rotating Corki in another power pick. So they have a particular first pick in mind with this.
It does make me wonder if the Lucian is going to come up. And there's a very interesting ban, Nunu. This is a champion that hasn't really shown up in Korea.
No.
It hasn't shown up yet today, and it hasn't been banned either. So
A ban, however, does make Jat sad. That is a true story.
I think Nunu is pretty good. I think he's one of the top tier junglers. He has very good objective control. When in a jungle where you're so poor, you're almost a support. Guess what Nunu is? He's a support. He can buy Sightstone. You can run it. You can snowball people. You can snowball your lanes literally. Like, he's good to go.
Oh,
that's
man.
every jungler's response ever.
Nunu is extremely boring.
No jungler wants to play Nunu, but the secret is all the coaches
Wait, I
want you to
love
play
playing
Nunu.
this. Come on now.
Oh, you like it?
Oh, I love it because he's a champion. You're just like all up in the struggle. You're just like, man, I got like boots and like this Sightstone, and it's like 30 minutes in the game. Whatever. I'm gonna like snowball some people, and there's the Pantheon pick. Santorin's Pantheon's pretty scary. He can make some really aggressive early game plays, and I guarantee he's gonna be camping mid. Yeah, mid really hard.
Now, we hear teams talking about, obviously, the early dragons. Is that just too dangerous? We're going to see these in these games, or can it actually be done?
The level 3 dragon?
I don't think it'll be done.
I think if they get into like a 2v1 scenario where the other team is kind of like late swapping around, you could definitely see that. But I don't think you're going to see any like cheeky, like, I did my blue buff and I'm going to do the dragon.
Absolutely.
People expect that.
So looking over at Unicorns of Love now. Nar picked up for Vizicachi. He took that in game 1 versus Lion Gaming.
Played really well in
He did
that game.
very well in that game. He really places himself well, and it's easy to get yourself into trouble with Nar too. If you just pop out a Mega Nar and a little Nar, you're pretty much dead instantly. The Lucian pickup, and that looks like it's going to leave a Rumble and possibly a Sivir to come in here that they're hovering.
Yeah,
I'm
this
really
is.
excited,
They definitely had this. I mean, they were expecting that first round Lucian on the red side as well as the Gnar, but the Gnar should do quite well in that lane against the Rumble, so Dyrus may have a little bit of a struggle if they end up locking that one in. Now, we haven't seen the Sivir in a while, but talk about Pantheon Rumble Sivir. That is an all-in engage composition. They are going to be trying to zerg your backlines really hard with that.
Yeah, and this kind of limits the mid lane picks too out of Unicorns of Love now. You can't really do that kind of pokey team comp that a lot of these teams have been showing today because you have so much engage. You have Rumble engage, you have Pantheon ultimate, you have Sivir speed, and you don't even know what's coming. They have Syndra, like anything, even more CC. So.
Yeah, it could be Lissandra in the mid lane right here too, depending on what the pick is and how comfortable Bjergsen is on that champion. And with so much happening in the back line,
Orianna wouldn't be horrible.
yeah, Xerath also wouldn't be terrible.
I wouldn't like Xerath, honestly. Against the Pantheon, I just think he'll suffer so much early.
No, the Xerath on TSM, excuse me.
Okay.
Well, there is the Zera from Unicorns of Love.
Not so,
Knight,
keen on that. Not so
Xerath.
keen on the Xerath here for Vivo.
No, I would be very worried about getting run down by Sivir.
First Twisted
Blind
Fate.
pick TF too. That's
That's a good point. Definitely a blind pick TF for Power of Evil. First one we're going to see here in the tournament. Map control really coming into precedence here for Unicorns of Love.
But there's a lot of kill pressure with TF and this Gnar because if you're capable of communicating around that Mega Gnar transformation,
Good point.
and you can get up into that top lane against a Rumble who may be a little bit hard pressed in a 1v1, it could make for some interesting plays.
Where's the Zera, like you called it?
This is Xerath. And the Janna from Lustboy, maybe.
Yep, so you have 3 moving forward, and then you can just play Protect the Xerath at the back line with the Janna.
No, I like it.
Giant Sivir boomerangs with Storm Shield on. Really nice composition.
You know, even when you were saying that they might focus on Dyrus top lane, I don't think Dyrus mains that. I think Dyrus is very much used to that. He'll get beat up constantly, and he'll just like plow through the game. And he's playing Rumble anyway. He doesn't need that many resources to be useful.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised
true.
to see a 2v1 coming out of this as well. So they can, I mean, roaming around with Pantheon early game and you have a Rumble backing up or Jan or anything like any kind of roaming duo with Pantheon. You have the CC there and you have a little bit of damage with it. You can do some pretty
Wait a
damage.
minute.
And okay.
Whoa!
Hold on.
Wait a minute. All right, so we got a lock at LeBlanc.
Is this jungle TF?
Locks in.
Already. Well, I don't know what to think about this.
Hold on, guys.
All right, speech.
This is now rendered useless.
All right.
He knows
Junglers.
something we don't know.
Junglers, gentlemen. I don't even know if this will stay. We can still go back and forth, but we're going to have to see what happens as we get into the game. We are going to be taking a short break right now, and we're going to have, it is Kobe, Joshua Jatt-Leesman, and Joe Miller to take you through the next game. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters here in San Jose. My name is Joe Miller alongside Joshua Jatt-Leesman and Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler. I'm just going to give the floor straight to Kobe because he knows what the hell is going on with Jungle TF.
All right, I have an inkling of what's going on. As soon as I saw it, my eyes kind of
You're
lit
like,
up,
I got this.
There's a guy, Kaosep, this Korean jungler.
The Master Yi player.
Yeah, he went over there.
Yeah.
He plays Master Yi all the time, and what he gets when he doesn't get Master Yi is he goes with this TF jungle. Now, we've already seen from Unicorns of Love, Kikis, he's used the range junglers. Kale, range junglers are really, really rare. But a big advantage that they have is leashing those large jungle camps because you get 10 soft resets on a camp before it will hard reset and start regenerating. So that's how TF can actually get through the jungle without taking a lot of early damage. You know, your initial thought is TF, he's so squishy, there's no way he can even clear. But he does that, he abuses the range, and so you keep soft resetting the range.
Okay.
And I'm not exact. I haven't
And
watched
he
it.
throws a bunch of red cards.
I haven't watched him go through an entire
Yeah.
game with it yet, but I know where it's from, and I know that that's how you start it off.
So what's really interesting to me about this is the same guy who just played Jungle Kill. So like, if it's about dancing the ranged aggro of the melee jungle camps, he should already have proven that he can do it.
Right, and that's how you start it off. This definitely opens up a lot of avenues as well. The theme of the day has been like jungle route diversity, and I've been disappointed in the junglers that just do the same thing over and over. There's so many options. Like we already saw red buff straight into a gank level 2. When you're TF, you can start out, you can do a similar thing. Like you can get a gold card. You can have that on-demand stun and go for an early gank, or you can try and hard farm and clear.
So the question is then, does Santorini now say, okay, he might be able to juggle the aggro, but will he be able to deal with a Pantheon up in his face contesting him on a buff?
That's an easy answer. No, he will. Pantheon will kill TF.
He's got to guess right. He can't get himself caught in the jungle. That's the big thing.
That's why level 1 warding is going to be huge this game. I really want to see how much effort they put into, getting that early intelligence on the jungle routes.
Well, here we go then into game number 1. It's TSM versus the Unicorns of Love here in the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose semi-final. We heard it right there. Level 1 warding, level 1 aggression going to be key in this game. And well, Kikis, I guess if there's a time to prove yourself on the big stage, Jungle TF in the semi-final is probably it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked his Kale. TF it's kind of a similar thing. He identified Devourer is a really strong item right now in the current state. It stacks up really quickly. It's a very snowbally item though. Devour really gets a lot of the power from the mid-game team fights. So once you complete it, if you get yourself into fights and you get yourself into skirmishes, it stacks up incredibly quickly. TF is really good at that because he has a semi-global teleport. So if Kikis can, get rolling post Devour completion, then it can be really scary.
I think in normal circumstances, I'd want to talk about the lane matchups and how Santorin might work really well with Bjergsen and, his potential for the North American scene. Right now, I just want to go to the top lane. I want to zoom in on Twisted Fate, and I want to watch him jungle. Because that's honestly what I'm interested in right now.
There you go.
Not the whole time. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, if he starts Krugs right here, not only will he be able to stun things with his gold card if he really wants to, even though I don't think that's what he's going to clear, every 5th auto attack will apply a stun to the jungle minions after he smites this buff.
Stop him taking as much damage as possible here with the threat of Santorin making a bit of an appearance on his jungle camps. We'll see about that though, as Unicorns of Love are starting top side. Actually, Santorin is going to be pretty much mirroring him on that bottom side as well. And there is the kickoff. Meanwhile, Lustboy, we heard it on the analyst desk earlier on. He loves to get in the enemy jungle and harass.
Hey, that was great, because he has just heavily delayed their level 2 and also made them take a little bit more damage there.
And it delays them getting to lane. One of the big things that people, a lot of the AD carry and support players in the pro scene were complaining about is that the team on red side can do that Krug really quickly, or do the Gromp really quickly, and they get to lane first. But he's just delayed that and switched it, so Turtle was actually sitting in lane first, and he gets to control.
I still feel like Unicorns of Love got the experience advantage there, though.
Yeah,
because they did get the Gromp, and they only got about 3 minions before they were able to delay it. He really didn't take that much damage.
No.
That was really good jungle play there, and his smite will be back up shortly.
So level 2 was hit first here by Unicorns Love. We saw the first hook coming out there as well.
All right, well, the TF is going for the early gank. He went Krugs into red. Now he's going mid. He's got the gold card.
Oh, no! Can they kill Bjergsen here? The chains are going to come down. He's dead. First blood going to Kikis with the jungle Twisted Fate.
Yes.
I said, if there's a stage to do it, to make your name,
Hey,
that's it.
Hey, Pantheon has a good game because of flash stun. You know who else has a flash stun? Jungle Twisted Fate.
I told you, right? He could go for the gold card gank, and boom, he does it. Pulls it off.
So good.
Bjergsen was not respecting it, and they pay for it. Unicorns of Love, first blood.
Well, let's see if Kikis...
I'm happy about that one, by the way.
I'm real happy.
I mean, you called that one, so that's you got to be happy about that.
I'm really curious how many people are going to try and jungle Twisted Fate and not know how to do this. Like, this is actually really impressive. The spot he's standing so that it's fake leashing back to him and really not hitting him at all.
Right, so there's the difference between the soft leash and the hard leash is that hard leash, it starts with generating health, and then you lose a lot of time. So if you mess that up one time, it puts you really far behind on any range jungler that you're trying to do.
Plus, you have to be really careful about the 10 soft leashes because you can't do that for too long, otherwise it'll just run back, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Kiki is showing an obvious mastery here of the new jungle and really not taking much damage whatsoever. Got himself a first blood, and now he may be on his way towards that bottom lane. Already level 4 here, so he's going to have Destiny before we know it.
It's awesome, and his skill order, he's not even putting any points into the queue, which is what a lane Twisted Fate would max. He's got 2 points in his pick a card and 2 points in his stacked deck right now. So he's just about auto-attacking, walking into lane, stunning somebody.
Right. That's why I say it makes me think he's going for that Devour, try and get the attack speed on hit TF build. And he's going to get it really quickly with that extra first blood money. I said it's just a snowballing item. That is the way to snowball a jungle Twisted Fate. He's going to get to level 6 really quickly, and then every lane has to worry about him.
Oh, Bjergsen might be in trouble here once again. Power of Evil, though, just going in for a bit of harassment. And of course, it was Bjergsen that went down first. Actually picked up an earlier scrying orb here, so he's going to be throwing out that, where is Twisted Fate? Is he coming towards me? What's going on with that one? Is Vizzy Chachi going to turn it into Mega now? Actually, that lane's very even at this point.
You know, I was kind of surprised that, you know, a team that just got into the LCS was voted here, and you know, how do Unicorns have so much fan support? They're such a new team. But now I definitely understand it. How can you not love this team? They're the team that played Poppy. This is the team pulling out Jungle Twisted Fate.
Yeah, they played Cassiopeia.
You can hear the fans. Like, they definitely already have huge fan support, and it's going to be an exciting EU LCS, I think it bodes.
And 1,000 gold ahead of TSM. Let's not forget they're the high seed, America's #1 going into the playoffs, or into Worlds, to be fair. And right now, it's the new boys, the Unicorns of Love from Europe. that are showing them a thing or two. Of course, there's still plenty of time for that to all change, for TSM to settle in. They were without doubt, I think we can say safely, the favorites coming into this match.
And I want to see if Santorin can match some of this early game jungle presence from Kikis' Twisted Fate. He's behind on him as levels. He hasn't even attempted a Pantheon gank or an early Dragon, so I feel like he's actually forfeiting a lot of his early pressure by being fairly ineffective.
Well, we'll definitely see when both the junglers hit level 6 because they both have that opportunity for
That'll be fun.
very, very long-range ganks. And
It's a
I feel
stacked
like
deck max on Twisted Fate, by the way.
yeah, it's all for that on-hit build that he's going. But I really also want to see how Bjergsen deals with this because he was the recipient of the early TF aggression, and he has picked up the early Scrying Orb as well. I do like that on Xerath just because if somebody does get super far, you can always find them. But we'll see. He's probably going to hug one side of the river and continue to use it there.
Looks like we might be seeing the first recalls here in that bottom lane. Wild Turtle just pushing up with his boomerang. And they will, in fact, be recalling. And probably Unicorns Love will follow suit straight away. In fact, Wild Turtle deciding to stick around for now, along with Lustboy. And they're just going to keep that farm going. Still very, very even. Vardag's got a ever so slight advantage in terms of farm. And we can see that Twisted Fate is actually going top side now. Level 5 must be 5.5, because I think he's been sat on that level 5 for a little while. Yeah. And then we see how good he is with this Twisted Fate.
All right, well, let's go over some normal things here. TSM, pretty decent ward coverage so far. They've got defensive pink set up on that bottom side of the river, so Bjergsen does have one side that he can hug. Plus, they're prepped for the dragon. Not a lot of vision here established for Unicorns of Love. They had a really exciting start there with the Twisted Fate getting off to a nice beginning, but really they're going to have to follow it up. Important first activation of the TF ultimate because he does have that first blood. He has that experience lead on Pantheon, so there's a small window where they have that global advantage, but probably red buff here going to give Santorin the opportunity to answer. Dang, the small minions have more experience in them.
There he goes, yeah. So double level 6 for the junglers. Devour on one guy. He's going right away. He's beating him to the punch.
Well, Kiki's a little bit slow on that one. Dyrus already starting to move back, and you can see though the damage that Kiki throws out there quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, Dyrus, as they said on Analyst Stats, he's used to being the recipient of ganks. Immediate flash, doesn't take any unnecessary damage, immediately blows that cooldown, and first TF gate nullified.
And I feel like TSM is trying to play as controlled a game as possible in fairly uncontrollable circumstances, seeing as they are against the jungle Twisted Fate. Dyrus, though, picked into a very difficult lane, having to go up against Gnar. If TF can actually create more pressure in mid lane to allow Power of Evil and edge on Bjergsen, that kind of hurts the entire Santorin Bjergsen synergy that I've been hearing so much about. It's like how Santorin doing on TSM. Everyone I talk to, they say, oh, he camps for Bjergsen and then Bjergsen carries. But I haven't seen that necessarily in this game. I'm waiting for Santorin to get involved.
And we'll see what these ultimates are going to be like out of Santorin. There is a blue buff given over to Bjergsen. The first bit of synergy that we've seen from those two.
Well, as we said, they've established a very good foothold on the bottom side of the map. Really, there's only one ward from Unicorns of Love, is that one pink ward. So we'll see if TSM does end up making a move, sort of positioned around Lustboy and Wild Turtle down there.
So Unicorns of Love coming back into that bottom lane. Actually, both AD carries running with the BF sword and Doran's blade. Only difference really being the boots that Vardags was able to pick up, and is still just a couple of CS in the lead. We'll see once this minion wave comes through. It'll be really not a massive difference between the two whatsoever. We also saw Twisted Fate heading back home and has got his enchantment now.
He actually had that before his last back, so he's already been stacking it up. He's had the Devour enchantment for a while. The first blood, not to mention the fact that Twisted Fate gets extra gold when he last hits things, got him to that point all so much faster. So he will be a late game force, so to speak, if he can stand in close range and auto attack, which, to be fair, you generally can't do on Twisted Fate. But yeah, 6 extra Devour stacks right now, so that's an extra 6 damage on hit to go with the 40 base from Devour.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned, how the potential for snowballing with this Twisted Fate, but you're right. It's a very vulnerable champion, auto-attack Twisted Fate, and there's so much threat here on TSM. They've got super long range. Rumble and Xerath, that's why we see early magic resist already coming out from Kikis. A jungler, who junglers don't usually buy magic resist till a lot later. Because there's so much long-range magic damage threat for him, he's already preparing for that. So we'll see how well TSM can deal with that back line.
Well, if we look at the gold, about 1,500 at this stage. There is Kikis coming through. Actually, will be spotted by that ward there from TSM. However, Lustboy coming up the river is going to be caught out here and has to flash away. So no flash on the support, which you have to feel for Power of Evil, especially, is going to be a juicy target.
Exactly. Yes, LeBlanc is pretty good at avoiding ganks right there, but that's a pretty big negative for him. Laning against Bjergsen takes away, I'd say, even more of his kill pressure so much than his escape, because now if he wants to stay safe, he's not allowed to use Distortion aggressively, and it should allow Bjergsen some pretty easy farming.
Bjergsen, with that, has been able to put down some damage onto that middle outer turret, and actually that's good damage.
I guess you
coming
just
in.
go
Power
hard.
of Evil is gonna land there, but Santorin was just around the corner. And Power of Evil not able to push through. Both of them going dangerously low, I'd say, at this stage. And if you just have to look at Summoners from that point then and see the barrier, which could play a big effect along with the flash. Power of Evil needs to be a little careful how close he comes at the back, actually dodging away from the stun. And, well, really well done there to bait in. Santorin as a stun card comes down. There's a hook as well onto Lustboy. Evil ultimate coming out, and it is Power of Evil that gets the kill in the end.
That was remarkably well done right there to get the stun comboed with everything else. A bunch of really low health people on Unicorns of Love pick up the kill on Lustboy, who had burned the flash. So they actually really make that earlier flash trade, which seemed like a bad thing, trading a mid lane flash for a support, but actually turn it into a kill and extend their lead over Team Solo Mid.
And they actually got that kill onto LeBlanc this time. So that's going to be pretty big for Power of Evil as well. He has rushed that Morellonomicon, so that was a big point of power for him. Let's see if they can take back control of this river, though, because it's been pretty much TSM control for most of the game. Thresh doing his best.
Yeah, Hylissang, we actually saw him in that earlier best of 3, not scared to move up into the enemy jungle and make sure that they've got those wards down, and actually got one by the red camp, one by the Raptors as well. And for now, Santorin waiting still, farming himself up, not being really involved, not thrown down that man drop up until now, and we'll see exactly what his idea of pushing these lanes is going to be and where the target will be. As Power of Evil once again going in towards Bjergsen again, manages to get the chains to proc off, and Bjergsen finds himself low for a second, third, fourth time in a row.
Yeah, I'm really interested in how Power of Evil is going to continue to play this. Since he beat Bjergsen to the Morellonomicon, he's really punishing him as of now until Bjergsen has another back. And Dyrus is getting ganked once again. He's going to have flash.
Oh, flash comes in. Actually, the cold card did land, and there's a flash over from Vizichachi. He's going to try and get the kill here. Throws out his ultimate as well. Dyrus in a lot of trouble. Is the damage there to finish off? You have to feel that it is. Ultimate coming out. Oh, man! He's still running away. Meanwhile, Bjergsen's gone down in the mid lane. Dyrus is still alive up there, and Vizichachi actually is waiting for the minions to come through. Dyrus had got rid of them all, and they've backed away.
Great escape there by Dyrus, in all honesty. I thought Vizichachi was going to close out that kill once he was able to get the wall stun from the Gnar ultimate. And yeah, we're going to have to get a replay of that mid lane fight, because Power of Evil being able to solo Bjergsen is tremendously potent.
Yeah, we can see he had been trying all game, just going in, bursting down every single time. They finally got some ward control on the side as well. So he had the confidence that Pantheon was not here to counter gank. And you can see he goes double W's for his distortion there, just to close the distance.
I feel like that was Bjergsen just underestimating Power of Evil's damage, because he landed a point-blank stun onto him and still got burst down because Power of Evil just landed his spells and knew the damage numbers better.
Yeah, and you also have to give some credit to Thresh. And that early ward clearing that we were watching him do, he was the one who gained control of the bottom side. They knew that there wasn't going to be threat from Pantheon there, and Power of Evil gets to play aggressively.
2,500 gold the lead here for the Unicorns of Love. This is, I mean, we've not really mentioned it up until now, but it is at the end of the day a North America versus Europe battle, which definitely a new one for the cards. As we see Santorin down on that bottom lane, he's actually recalling right now, though.
And, you know, since we were wondering about these junglers, any jungler that has Devour is happy in a farm game like this. If both of them are farming really heavily, then the Pantheon is definitely the one missing out here. And Kikis is pretty happy with the way that this game is going. He's almost the second item here.
I'm actually really happy with the way Unicorns of Love constructed this team composition against a first-picked Pantheon. Oh, man. I'll say after Power of Evil kills Bjergsen again.
Yeah, one more auto attack. Oh, the Q will finish him off. And Power of Evil, that was the question that Shox asked earlier on to the manager, the coach of Power of Evil. And well, we're seeing it right here. Power of Evil is dominating him in lane.
Not only was the coach really confident in Power of Evil's ability to deal with Bjergsen, but Power of Evil, when he said, what did they want out of this tournament? He was like, yeah, we just wanted to win so that we could get to play TSM so I could play Bjergsen. And he got his wish, and he is performing very admirably.
Oh, that hook actually going through there. Spell Shield will block out some damage, and doesn't really matter. It's going to be the Dragon going down. Vizicsacsi, you're going to get transformed, but didn't follow through. Dyrus, a good 30 CS behind now in that top lane. Obviously was, I'd say, pretty lucky at this point not to have died as well.
Yeah, and it looks like Unicorns of Love continue to take control of this game, specifically through the mid lane of Power of Evil, but the success that they have had isn't just about the performance of Power of Evil or even the early gank by Kikis. It goes all the way back to the pick and ban. Twisted Fate was actually the third pick on the side of Unicorns of Love, and that made Bjergsen feel safe about picking Xerath because he doesn't need to worry about facing a LeBlanc, who is tremendously effective against Xerath. She can dash all the skill shots, get in close, and finish you off. Who the heck expects a jungle Twisted Fate? Bjergsen is completely counted in this matchup because of the pick ban wizardry that Unicorns of Love put together. On top of that, I was going to get into the Pantheon jungle. What lane is Pantheon supposed to gank here? The ult comes down, LeBlanc jumps away. You try and get a Thresh, he jumps away. Maybe this one, but he's pretty tanky.
He is pretty tanky, but Lost Boys there as well. They throw the exhaust in, and Vizicsacsi is in a lot of trouble. 3 men on top of him. Santorin will actually pick up his first kill here on TSM, and their first kill of the game. Meanwhile, Bjergsen taking a lot of damage. Will Power of Evil get the cooldowns back? Yes, he will. Finishes off. Twisted Fate actually uses ultimate there as well, and has gone top lane to pick up a kill onto Dyrus. 2 kills simultaneously on the board there for Unicorns of Love.
And this is another thing about people going away from building Athenes. No magic resist in the mid lane. Oh, he's good. He's been circled.
Oh, Stone actually going down. Flash throw, Kikis. He's going to turn this one around. Gets the kill. It will be traded off though.
Hey, it's worth it right there. You knew that's what Santorin was thinking there, trying to block the turrets with his shield and avoid Kikis, but he throws out so many auto attacks, you only get to block one, and then he can't always get the turrets if he's landing the right autos.
Oh, there's Hillsang as well, trying to stop Wild Turtle from going home. It means that this turret is gonna fall as well. That was Vardag's finishing off, and that's the second one of the game for the Unicorns of Love. 5,500 gold, their lead here as we approach the 20-minute mark of this game. Looking very, very good for the new boys in the European LCS.
Yeah, so what they definitely need to do now is bolster their vision control inside the jungle. They've got an extremely fed LeBlanc right now. All that you need when you have a Blanc, this fed, is that you just have to get some vision control, because it makes TSM have to play really, really scared. The probability that you can get picked off and 100%ed by that LeBlanc is really high for pretty much everybody except maybe Turtle, because he has Spell Shield.
Well, we'll see how much that actually helps him out in the grand scheme of things. Wit's End is done, by the way, for Kikis on Twisted Fate. Vardag's been cheeky here, trying to steal away that red buff. Skrynov does come down. He needed one more auto attack there, I think, as we see them again moving towards Dyrus in this top lane. Vizicsacsi a little bit low. There's the ultimate out of Dyrus, and it's going to stop any pressure of a kill, but they'll lose the turret, the third one, if I could count, of the game.
Yeah, just a lot of control here by Unicorns of Love, but a slight vulnerability opened up. TSM saw 3 top, trying to take a mid-turret.
Nice little turnaround. We'll give them a bit of gold back as the Cullen comes out. Maybe slightly too late there. Would have wanted to get down, although you have to feel that turret was going either way, even if they'd have had to tank up a couple of hits from it. So, where does that leave us? 7-2 in kills, spread between Twisted Fate and LeBlanc. And we'll see if TSM can really fight this. I mean, at this point, can they even fight them? And you look at the item disparity there.
Maybe. If they can get a good Rumble ult down and Santorin could somehow close during a right team fight, then yes, they could fight them. But honestly, that's not going to happen with the way Unicorns of Love is playing. They're getting the picks where they need them. LeBlanc can solo anyone, and honestly, Kikis kind of can too.
Yeah, so it certainly is dangerous because both teams have these global ults for their junglers. I mean, if TSM could find a numbers advantage engaged, then they have a lot of long-range damage, as we went over, that they can use to capitalize on that and actually finish off a kill. You know, either Dyrus or Xerath just being in the area of a small skirmish would help, but they would probably have to catch Unicorns of Love off guard at this point.
There's Vizichachi going back into his top lane to get that farm before surely returning to the Tribush and getting rid of that ward that's just gone down. There is Kikis getting the wards, maybe, if they go over that one. There they do finally spot that one. And that will indeed be a vision again, cleared out by Unicorns of Love. Harrison still waiting there for a hook over the side. Let's see if he gets it. Dangerous though, there are 4 men there from TSM. There is a scrying orb coming out of Bjergsen. There's also one on Wild Turtle now as well. But yeah, they're spread here, UOL. They need to possibly react to TSM's push or not. They've backed off. There's 35 seconds till Dragon. That's where it's all going to be about.
In a controlled team fight, because the Sivir the way TSM has built their composition here, they can still have a chance at a comeback here. But if they don't have vision control, which they do not, and they can't get into that choke cleanly, then they have no chance.
There's Vizichachi once again causing a few issues as the fight does start in that middle lane. This thing is a little bit low there. Power of Evil also at half HP, but again, it's 4 versus 4. Both top laners have teleport available. Vizichachi actually walked all the way down. As a dragon spawns, it's Unicorns of Love that are backing away onto it.
And Darius just went back to base. He does have teleport, but no vision inside the pit. This should probably be going over to Unicorns as well. Number 2.
I feel like I'm a little bit stunned here, and a lot of the crowd in San Jose is also stunned. They're thinking, all right, this European team just barely qualified for the LCS. Yeah, we saw them earlier today. They did okay against Lion Gaming. Everyone's talking about TSM being the favorites for this tournament, and they just completely mind gamed them in picks and bans, and they're executing this Twisted Fate and LeBlanc combination together so well.
And that's what I said at the end of that first game today. Yes, Unicorns of Love didn't look amazing in their victory over Lion, but what were they saving for the semi-final against TSM? And so far, well, obviously the Twisted Fate pick completely mind-gaming them out of the picks and bans, but overall, they've just looked a lot stronger up until now. We have to say it on the same token, though, that it wasn't the early mid-game that looked troublesome for Unicorns of Love. It was turning that lead that they had into a victory.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because Bjergsen has grown into a pretty decent shot caller. It took him a long time, and he had a rough patch there, but from all the intel that we've gotten from people scrimming against them, TSM's late game has gotten a lot better, and their shot calling has gotten much clearer. So this is a really good test for him, because under duress, can he still make the same clutch calls? Like, they're definitely down in gold, and he's working with less. So they are the ones who have to pull out something.
Oh, pink ward down. Double ward from TSM over the top there, and actually one of them will be cleared out. Second one will follow here shortly as well. And this thing taking a lot of poke damage actually from Bjergsen. The beauty of having that Xerath, but look at this.
He's close to
coming.
Pignar
He's
too.
going to transform here in just a second, but what can he do with it? Let's see. Actually, he's going to push back here and having to take the Lantern. The rest of his team are already backed away.
Now we have to see, will TSM try and take advantage once his rage bar depletes here? Because TSM, they have the chase down with Sivir. They have the Pantheon ult to force the engage. They have long range AP damage. If they want to fight, they will force a fight. This TSM team is very, very strong at forcing. And really, they have to work around the Gnar rage bar, because Gnar is so strong right now. He will be a ridiculous front line. Yeah. If he gets the right timing for the fight, and he has Mega Gnar close.
I feel like TSM is going to try and play the long game right here. Honestly, yes, they can force fights, but because the gold deficit is so large, I think they just need more time. I think they want Bjergsen to be able to finish Void Staff and Death Cap Wild Turtle probably wants to get to a point where he can potentially take down Gnar. And for that, I think they have until 5 dragons at that point. They are currently at 2, and that gives them until about 40 minutes before they'd basically just straight up lose. They're in a lose-lose situation in so many ways, but I think that's where TSM's going to go here.
Well, they may be able to catch out the support. Actually, Ultimate comes out of Dyrus, and Sang is down, and that's the kind of thing that they need to do. Here we see the man drop as well coming towards Vardax. He will flash instantly, though. Didn't want to risk being locked up there by Santorin. Meanwhile, though, Power of Evil is pushing this top lane.
Opportunistic pushes always work right there. Hylissang way out of position, and LeBlanc, of all people, pulling off this split push. Doesn't push very fast, but TSM got that wave cleared quick.
Oh, here comes Vizichachi, though. Will be able to transform here in just a second. Power of Evil also making his way across. Is Vizichachi going to go for this one? Power of Evil has been spotted on the side, and I think they've waited a little too long for this one. Needed LeBlanc there as well, and TSM rightly so, backing out.
Good spell shield block there. Not going to be a hard engage because, as we said, they're working well around the rage of that Gnar. And now, since they got their small win, they didn't overextend. That's really the key. Because it's very easy for this team, even when you're behind like that, after you get a kill, that bloodlust that goes through you, to overextend afterwards. TSM pull back, rightfully, and they're able to defend their turret. Let's see if they can actually swing bottom, though. Unicorns of Love make it a strong move.
Yeah, they need to get down there quickly for this one. There will be a 4-man team. There's the shield out of Lost Boy, but I think they're going to have to give this one up. Already down to half HP. Turtle's going to come in, and it just won't be enough for them. A nice little play of the map there by Unicorns of Love. It allowed them to get wards down on that bottom side while they went as well.
Ooh, and LeBlanc with DFG completed as well. So much burst potential here from Power of Evil. You have to be really, really careful, even defending under your turret, because she can pop really quickly and just get a large chunk of damage on a single target to force you out of the fight.
Let's not forget how farmed Kikis actually is. The amount of magic resist he has with that on-hit build, 165 MR with 2,000 health. If you're Bjergsen or Dyrus right now, that's kind of a tank that can duel you really easily. The only person that I think stands a chance against him in a 1v1 is Wild Turtle. And even then, if his spell shield is down, when the Twisted Fate decides to go in, it could be rather devastating. We were really curious about how this Twisted Fate was going to transition. Because, yeah, he's a really short-range auto attacker, but if he stacks MR and can somehow avoid the physical damage, you know, kind of engaging after Santorin engages so he's not in range of Pantheon stuns, he could actually perform decently in the midst of a team fight.
Well, he massively outscales Pantheon, just tremendously, especially with Devour already. Can't see how many
stacks.
Last I
saw it was around 30. It's probably higher, 41 now.
He's from here on out, especially, he is just going to continue to outscale that Pantheon.
We saw that TSM trying to set up a trap to lure in the Unicorns of Love, and makes sense. 10 seconds until the next dragon comes up. You expected that they might wait until dragon number 5. We'll see. TSM actually moving down there already.
Well, if they can get vision control, which they kind of have, then they're not at as much risk for a LeBlanc assassination. But boy, 8,000 gold coming into this one. They're going.
Oh, there's a Rumble Ultimate, and really catching Vizichachi a little bit, taking him down to half HP. There's the calling Power of Evil. Will try and dive in. They didn't really get much damage off, though. Power of Evil actually using his ultimate there. That's a good Howling Gale coming through. Kikis is going to turn around. Power of Evil comes back in, but he's exhausted. It's Dyrus that were their first target. They managed to get that kill. Power of Evil surviving up the other side. Kikis flashes in. There is Vizichachi. Gets the 4-man ultimate as well. And now Vardix comes in. What more can they get here? TF once again into the back line. It's only Lost Boy left alive. He'll be closed down. Power of Evil should be able to finish this one off. And there it is. And it is an ace for the Unicorns of Love. A triple kill going over to Power of Evil. And they didn't even lose one man.
And that is going to be the dragon on top of it. What a fight from Unicorns of Love. The beginning of the fight was actually played pretty well by TSM. They played around the rage bar really well, kiting back when he went into Mega Gnar. But then Dyrus got a little bit too far out front, got caught. This is going to be not only dragon, but another turret here and a large minion wave on the top side of the inhibitor turret.
And it's chain stuns too, so once you get caught out of position for a little while, you're basically dead. Twisted Fate stun, LeBlanc tether, as well as the Thresh hook can all be comboed in. And even though they played around the Rage Bar, because of the extended stuns, they overstayed, and Vizicachi got a great Gnarl.
Yeah, so I thought they were going to look for a Rumble Ultimate in the corridor.
Right here, it seemed all right,
but
I mean, the Rumble ult was already down. Great exhaust on Power of Evil at the start, but it's the chain stun onto Dyrus that ended up keeping TSM in this fight longer than they should have been.
And then here's the beautiful flash in. Oh, no, he didn't even have to flash. Yeah, he did. There it is. The hop, then flash gets everybody with that Gnar CC. And that's the biggest bonus that you get for picking Gnar. TF again, as you said, so much continued chase there for this team. Not going to be able to get away.
Bad news for TSM, that's for sure. 12-3 up in kills now, the Unicorns of Love. And the gold, well, it's a lot. 30 minutes in, over a 10,000 gold lead. What are Unicorns of Love going to do now? They've got not quite full vision control. There's a ward from TSM inside of that Death Brush. So Baron, I don't know, always a risky play. Well, I mean, we've seen today already that, well, funnily enough, against the Xerath, that you might always have a few little issues with that. But Unicorns of Love, trying it, doing it right here, getting the wards down on the top side of the TSM jungle.
Against the 0-5-0 Xerath,
that's
with
true.
the Morellonomicon Void Staff only, it's going to be really hard for Bjergsen to even get in position close to that Baron.
And they can't check because of LeBlanc. That's the biggest thing. If anyone goes to try and get a ward.
right now.
Yep.
Oh,
Or
shutdown.
not.
This could be bad. Unicorns of Love say no, evacuate, as we
They
do
got
see the
Pantheon.
colors. Here's the man drop coming down. Flash again over the wall. Xerath ultimate. All three charges landing. Bjergsen picking up that one, but what did TSM do now? They've taken down 2 men. Do they go straight to Baron? What's the call?
They're going to push
pinging mid. He's pinging mid right now. Bjergsen's making the call. They're going with the safer route. They do not want to take that chance of Baron going down to the other team. They take, again, they get another small win. They're not trying to overextend. They take the very easy objective here. They're going to grab the turret money, take that back home, and take the small incremental steps back towards an even game.
I really have to know how Power of Evil died without killing anybody. Because the amount of damage he has, he didn't even look like he used his DFG there. I thought he'd be able to zone out and kill very easily. What went wrong here? He dashes in, the stun. He dashed straight into the Xerath stun. Totally outplayed, basically, by Bjergsen having the stun right there.
Yeah, and then, as we said, it's so hard to get away from this TSM team. Sivir ult goes off, Pantheon ult goes off. They get another with some beautiful shots from Bjergsen. All 3 Xerath ults hitting.
That's so rare.
It's extremely rare. We've seen several games today already with Xerath ultimates where all 3 miss.
And that's what you've got to be able to do at this level. I mean, you go 0-5-0, and when it matters like that, you hit all 3 charges of your ultimate. We'll see, though, how that all continues, because once again, the Unicorns of Love are on the top side of the map. This time, there's no, actually, is that a ward in the back of the Baron pit? It is from TSM, so they do have vision of that backside, and not sure that the Unicorns of Love are quite ready to go for that one again. You could say that Power of Evil maybe just thinking, okay, that can happen. A little bit unlucky diving in, the stun landing as it did. But we'll see how confident they are. Pushing out that top lane for now. A pink ward was put in the back of the Baron pit, and I think that will actually use as a scan there because the pink ward is more in river, but they've got full vision control of the Baron pit now.
Yeah, 3 of their team's pink wards are all in close proximity of each other. I think they're going to continue to do this play, except this time,
2 scrying wards,
Power of Evil doesn't get randomly killed. They know exactly where they're doing, but they just can't get there in time. I think it's dead.
Yeah, already gone down. It's the Unicorns of Love, the pick of the first Baron. Bjergsen moving around the side. There's a flash hook. They managed to catch out Lustboy. What will happen here? The bot's actually not catching him. Twisted Fate will ulti. Who's he going to go for? He gets the stunned up there, and he will no. Actually pulls off the lantern. Will he fall there in the end? There's the ultimate from Bjergsen to snipe off Kikis. But that might be it here. We see Vizicachi. They've managed to slow and hook Dyrus. That gives us a 2-for-1 in favor of the Unicorns of Love. Now they're on to Bjergsen. Vizicachi blown back though by the monsoon. Wild Turtle gets a bit deep. There is Vizicachi diving underneath the turret. We see Vardax coming in from the side. Power of Evil in there as well. He will actually be able to pick up the kill, and they get the ace. It's a delayed ace, but an ace nonetheless.
A sufficiently chaotic team fight, one would say, all starting with the Pantheon ultimate and still not yet ending. They might want this inhibitor since it's just Santorin trying to defend.
Yeah, if they want it, they're going to take it here. Death timer's a little bit too long. Looks like they are going to stay. and grab the extra super minions for themselves. Empowered Recall should enable them to get back very quickly and shove another lane with that Baron buff.
And there you go. All back home with decent gold to spend as well. Let's have another look at that one.
This all started really strangely because Santorin ulted in since they had absolutely no control on the Baron vision, was hoping for a steal, but the Baron is already gone. So immediately the fight is a disaster to begin with. At this point, though, Dyrus actually puts down a pretty good ultimate and nearly turns the fight around.
Yeah, so Dyrus and Bjergsen react to this TF ultimate immediately, and they almost kill him. Then they even get enough distance for Bjergsen to proc his ultimate and then shoot him to snipe for the last kill here. He also answers Power of Evil and gets him back to back out of the fight. But again, another beautiful hook there. Thresh is able to grab the extra kill and enable them to push all the way through.
So Baron for Unicorns of Love following Ace, and now they're going to be taking another dragon. Is this number 4?
Yep.
Number 4.
Even though we don't have a thing in the spectator delay right now, if you look down on the bottom left for the viewers out there, you can see the dragon buff on the left now has a 4 next to it if you're watching in higher resolution. So just for it in the interim until the graphic gets made.
One is on the way. The top men are on it. I
Top
promise.
men.
So you, Kobe?
Yeah.
No.
Kobe's home in Microsoft Paint.
I'm scribbling.
Sketching out dragon numbers.
Dragon.
We can spell it right, that'll be a good start. Unicorns of Love here pushing towards that second inhibitor. This time down the bottom lane. Power of Evil again diving in, trying to get that damage into the back lines. Will TSM be able to hold on to this turret?
Well, it's going to be tough work for them because they have Gnar splitting and splitting with Baron buff, plus their supers
Two of
coming
those
up the
big
middle.
siege minions that are going to do their work.
Yeah, it's just really...
These inhibitors, they're all going down.
Yeah, that one is gone. No real answer. Dyrus did try and get away. There's a GA there as well for Vizichachi, so Dyrus probably doesn't have much chance of stopping this inhibitor going down. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, all the Unicorns of Love, are still pushing that bottom lane out as well, and this is going to possibly be all 3 inhibs going down.
Yeah, here's the
Don't
thing
come
about the
back from
Empowered
that.
Baron minions. They can't get in range to clear the cannon, and they're already down 2 other inhibitors. The only way you stop a team from sieging at this point is if you fight them, but they're too far behind.
Dude, they dive straight in there. There's 2 men going down instantly. Kiki's going to go to the back as well. They finish off Bjergsen, and that is the ace. And this is going to be game number 1 of the semi-final here at the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, going to the Unicorns of Love.
Hey, beginning of the day, talking about how important the new jungle plus mid control is.
Yep.
And with all the hype here for Santorin and Bjergsen, it's actually, Power of Evil and Kikis that come out with the early strong move at mid, and then they're able to use that to dictate pretty much the entire game.
And here's the other thing we have to keep in mind. We are in the off-season, even for Team Solo Mid, who was a team that attended the World Championship. It has been a long time since they've played in an LAN event like this, so the element of rust does kind of sneak in. The fact that Unicorns of Love had those 2 games earlier against Lion does make them a little bit looser, but honestly, it was the pick ban outplay.
There's a lot of work for the coaches here, and especially since they've got Loco, up there with the team now. He's going to have to be able to deal with the pick and ban phase at least next time around.
Well, you only get surprised by Jungle Twisted Fate once, but now they can't be safe with who they pick in the mid lane because they actually don't know, any ranged champion can now be a jungler apparently for Kikis.
And do you get rid of Gnar, who, that's the second great performance from Santorin that we've seen on Gnar today. Where do you focus your bans? I mean, do you take Twisted Fate out, or do you say next time we're gonna know that it's Twisted Fate?
Well, let's send it over to the experts.
Take out Twisted Fate. Good thing we have a desk to answer that question for us.
Well, and that's what we're going to do then. We're going to go straight over to the guys who actually know what they're talking about, apparently, and break down game number 1.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And what a game indeed. I think we were all kind of in shock over here. It was pretty much Power of Evil giving Bjergsen the Kansas City Shuffle like 3 times in mid. The first solo was at 14 minutes, and everybody's like, wait a minute. So that just that was supposed to be the other way around. But I think with a grain of salt, you take that TF because it worked amazingly. They played very well at composition, but that could have easily gone downhill so fast.
Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward, that's for sure. But in my opinion, if you're going to debut a kind of oddball pick, TSM is the team you do it against. We've kind of seen it time and time again. In the more immediate memory, their second match against SK at Worlds comes to mind. if you do something weird and pick and bans that they don't expect, TSM is not the best team at adapting in-game to those kind of issues.
Yeah.
They don't theory craft very well about what you might do on the fly, and they tend to make a lot of mistakes and kind of come apart at the seams as a result, and they're just very prone to these kind of surprises. And not only that, but during the pick and ban phase, they are typically also reliant on Bjergsen and Dyrus at least going even in lane because they really need that power, and by letting them have Gnar, which they did intentionally, and then getting the old switcheroo with the jungle TF and having a mage assassin, Xerath has a hard time with Ahri, has a hard time with LeBlanc, because he's all skill shots, and they're relatively slow moving, and how do you even hit them when they're moving around so fast?
Yep.
Well, we see Bjergsen in mid trying to play one of his safest champions and actually getting, as I said, rocked out by Power of Evil there. Looking at St. Vicious at the jungle, the early gank coming in from Kikis on TF, what could have Santorin done to bring that one back? Because he kind of seemed to be floundering after that. Almost half the CS down at the end of the game by as well.
I mean, after you give it, I actually feel like that's Bjergsen's fault because there's it's jungle TF. Like
There's
it's
very little
obviously, yeah, you're going to cheese with this champion. He's going to gank you right after he does his buff. It's like so obvious it's coming. And you saw Bjergsen was trying to scrap it out with the LeBlanc level 2, and I feel like just maybe a little bit of cockiness on his part. And on top of that, he knew Santorin wasn't nearby to like back him up when he usually is, of course. But yeah, I think there's just a little bit of cockiness out of Bjergsen.
Cockiness out of Bjergsen, maybe cold hands possibly coming in. We did say Unicorns of Love was going to use that momentum. Snoopy, do you think TSM's just kind of, as Jack said, these guys have been on the off season, a little lackluster and show better next game?
I'm not so sure that's an excuse because from what we have heard, they have been coming in really hot into this tournament. We expected a lot of TSM. Sure, Santorin didn't have the greatest game, but I don't think it was relatively his fault. It was Bjergsen falling behind in mid lane, which I think was a huge part of this game.
Dyrus also fell really far behind.
He was okay.
No, even before the TF gank, he was down like 30 CS.
Yeah, he fell pretty far behind. After the initial buy, he started to slip pretty significantly. And in a way, I feel like TSM almost outsmarted themselves with this pick and ban phase. They come in with this Sivir pick. They try and bait out this Lucian.
Yeah.
They know the Gnar and Lucian are coming in that first round on the red side. And I think they got a little too fancy and didn't have enough respect for any of these other possibilities that could happen. And I do want to give a moment, because I hashed out some numbers on this jungle TF.
Yeah, let's
to
hit
talk
that,
about,
and then we'll hit the break.
kind of what he was doing right here, because it is very interesting. We did see him going for a lot of AD. And before I start talking about this, let me make this very clear. This is something that professionals do. It's like jumping over flaming buses with motorcycles or swimming with sharks. Do not do this at home. Don't. Okay, thank you. But coming into this, it's about on-hit TF. So he's basically trying to use the stacked deck to proc a whole bunch of magic damage with the Devourer enchantment and Wit's End and the stacked deck. So what this looks like is that at 28 minutes, 41 stacks, he had 110 AD. He's doing 223 hybrid damage per auto attack. He had an attack speed of 2, which means that every fourth attack, he's doing 388 damage, which boils down to, if he just stands there and autos, and obviously this is a perfect case, in 2 seconds he's doing over 1,000 hybrid damage to you, which for a jungler in the current meta is a lot.
Saint's like, I want some of that.
It is extremely situational, though, getting 4 auto attacks reliantly.
This is why it's for professionals only.
There you go, everybody, because math. Right now, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Game 2, so stick around for the Intel Extreme Masters League of Legends Tournament.